kind of going old school a little bit and going back to the Old Testament, talking about the story of David versus Goliath. Now, this is a story that many of us, when we fight in the pro-life movement, when we fight to restore protections to all human life, we think about this a lot. And if you recall the story, you have David, the shepherd boy, who is sent to the front lines of the battle, per his father's instructions to find out what's happening. His older brothers were there, and they hadn't received word what was happening. So David goes, finds the Israelite army, and he starts asking them, what's going on? He sees the Philistines across the valley. They're camped out, and these two armies are facing each other, but nothing's happening. And while he's there, he hears and he sees this almost 7-foot-tall giant, the Goliath. The Goliath is challenging someone to come out and face him. No one will face him. Even King Saul was too afraid to go and face the Goliath. But it was David, an ill-equipped, ill-prepared shepherd boy, who decided that he would face the Goliath. That how dare he mock his God? And that all he needed was his faith and a few small stones. Now, what most people don't understand is actually David had the advantage in the battle. He went in as the underdog, but as soon as he determined that he was going to face the Goliath, he actually had the advantage. The Goliath was almost 7 foot tall. If you go back to the scripture, you'll see that it actually says someone led the Goliath down to the valley. Many biblical scholars think that there was something wrong with the Goliath's eyesight. What we also don't know is those stones that David was slinging, that they were actually very powerful weapons. They were considered one of the most powerful weapons in the Israelite army. But how did this underdog, how did someone who thought no chance, how did he rise up? Why did he decide to be the courageous one? Men and women, my message to you today is very simple. It's be a David. Make a decision to be a David. You know, 9 years ago, when we launched Students for Life of America, it was an interesting experience for us. I had left a pretty well-paying job in Washington, D.C. as a government employee. Sorry, Congressman, it's kind of a waste of tax dollars. But it was a comfortable job. And I left because I met with some folks and they said, you know, we want to go out and we want to equip pro-life students. And I remembered back to when I started a pro-life group in my high school, when I started a pro-life group in my college, how difficult it was. The rumors that I faced, the controversy, the angry teachers, the angry professors. And I said, yeah, I want to do that. I want to help these other students. And this was a lofty mission. Let's go and take seemingly unorganizable young people, people who are too busy with their studies, with work studies, side jobs, all-night video game marathons, sorority parties, and let's tell them to dedicate their most precious asset, their time, to a cause they probably don't think they can win. But men and women, the good news is that gamble, that lofty mission, that mission that so many pro-life of my friends who are pro-life said, good job, if you need a job in a couple months, come see us. That mission that we decided to take on, it worked. Because we were faithful to what God was calling us. We decided to try to be that David, to lead this generation, to stand up against the abortion climate. Now, we were at one time one employee with cheap IKEA furniture, and today we are 30 employees with cheap IKEA furniture. Some things will never change in the pro-life movement. But God has worked through us. The Holy Spirit has worked through us. That's the only explanation I can give you. We've gone from 100 ragtag Students for Life groups across the country to over 930 today. This school year, we will reach over 1,000 campuses, high school and college campuses, with young people on them that made the decision to stand up against the culture of death, to help those women and men facing the unplanned crisis pregnancies on campus. Things are changing in our country. The tide has turned. I don't know how many of you brave the cold in Washington, D.C. every year, which I will admit, now moving to the Midwest, it is much colder here than in Washington, D.C. You guys brave a lot more. I don't know how many of you have come out to the March for Life. But every year, I'm amazed at how many young people are there. A few years ago, we decided to do voter registration. We had iPads, which, by the way, don't work when it's negative 5 degrees outside. And we were going to register all the young people to vote after the March for Life. But dummy us, we forgot to factor in that most of the people who go to the March for Life were under 18. Men and women, I can tell you from firsthand experience, over 3/4 of the March for Life this week in Washington, D.C., over 3/4 of those in San Francisco for the Walk for Life will be young people. Now, we might be stealth ninjas because the media never seems to notice we're there, but we are. And you're going to see us holding those I am the ProLife Generation signs. You know, like, I always get excited when I come to Chicago. It's the home of Saul Alinsky. One of the Saul Alinsky tactics is power isn't what you have, it's what people think you have. When we first started Students for Life, we came up with the I am the ProLife Generation slogan. We thought, you know, people need to know they're joining a winning cause. People want to join a winning cause. So we had this slogan, we put it on signs, and we had a couple thousand, and we said, let's see if we can convince some people to hold them up. Today, that is the message you will see in the media and at the marches across our country. Because we are the pro-life generation. I hope you can see how the tide has turned. Our generation views abortion differently. Many of us saw our brothers and sisters in the ultrasounds. We know it's not a mere clump of tissue. Many of us have Googled what abortion is. We've seen the blood images. Many of us have first-hand experience with abortion. We know a friend who's had an abortion. We sat as she cried. Many of us know that friend who kind of just drifted off and we separated ways in high school. We know the path that they've gone down. We view abortion differently. We see abortion differently. And you can see that in the polls today, when young people overwhelmingly will say that they are pro-life. And the good news is this is changing our culture. Because remember, youth are sexy. Youth drive culture. Culture drives politics. Remember that. They're changing our culture. Today we have over 288 pieces of legislation that have been passed in our states since 2010. We have the fewest number of abortion facilities in our nation since 1991. We are winning. And we have a friend of ours in the pro-life movement, another David, who went out and exposed Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion vendor this year. For the first time in our history, we have the nation's largest abortion vendor being investigated by 3 House committees, and whose president had to go to Capitol Hill to testify under oath to say, once and for all, Planned Parenthood provides 0 mammograms, and that over 86% of their client income comes from abortion. The tide is turning in our country. Things are changing. And I hope that some of you who brave the cold and go out to the March for Life today, you'll see that things are different. Things are different than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I know when I come to banquets and I go and I speak, often I speak to a lot of older folks, people who've been around way longer than me. And they think, she's so cute, she has to say this, she's been told to pump us up. But I've been coming to the same banquet every year, giving my $100 every year. Things aren't going to change. And for those people, I ask you, I challenge you to look around. Things are different. But our work isn't complete just yet. There are things we have to do. We are kicking the abortion industry's butt on college campuses. We're getting word out about what abortion is. We're getting word out about what being pro-life is, about serving men and women. But they're fighting back. And they're fighting back harder than ever before. You notice a few years ago their slogan was safe, legal, and rare. And the abortion industry realized we can't use that terminology anymore because that, when we say safe, legal, and rare, that kind of makes it seem like there might be something wrong with abortion. And we're losing. So now we need to be saying to women, it's good. Now the new mantra on college campuses is abortion is a social good. Abortion is good for our society. Abortion is good for you. Let us help you. Our young people are being marketed to in a way we've never seen before, especially by Planned Parenthood. And here's what they do. They go into our high schools and our middle schools, and they tell the gym teacher, you don't have to teach sex ed. We know it's uncomfortable. We're trained. We have the curriculum by the state. We can handle it. So they go in and they don't talk about abortion because they know young people don't like abortion. They read the same polls that I do. But they say, look, when you're ready to have sex and, your parents have told you to wait, that's good and all. But when you're really ready to have sex, come see us. Here's our business card. Everything we provide is free and confidential. They know they can build a relationship with her. And the earlier she comes in for birth control, which is, group 1 carcinogen by the World Health Organization, or Planned Parenthood condoms, which are the lowest ranked by Consumer Reports. The earlier she comes in for that, the earlier she's going to have to come in for a pregnancy test, for STD test, STD treatment, because they know a cycle will continue. There's going to be a cycle that starts in her life. And that day, when she thinks she's pregnant, the day she might be pregnant, who's she going to go to? Planned Parenthood. Because she's been going to them for 4 or 5 years. She's built a cycle with them. They've built trust with her. Men and women, that's why I'm so excited to be here with you today. That's why I'm so on fire for the mission of Aid for Women. Because Aid for Women breaks that cycle. They build that trust with her. Aid for Women reaches her before Planned Parenthood does. They're showing her a different way. That's what we have to do. Now, if any of you know me or have read our emails, you know I am a bossy person. God made me this way and I'm proud of it. I am a type A. So, I came with action items for you. Of course, we're going to go out and march today in the cold, which, by the way, as Father said in Mass, get extra graces. I think it's God's way of kicking us a little bit, like you didn't end abortion last year. Deal with the cold weather. Remember this next Saturday when you don't want to go and pray in front of the abortion facility. But you'll have to come back next year. There's things we have to do besides marching. And I want to give you a few things you can do every day. Something that you can change this year so you just don't come back to the Aid for Women brunch next year and say, oh, it's great to see you guys. Everything's been the same. The first action item, the first thing I'd like for you to do, and how you can become a David, is to courageously tell your story. Courageously tell your story, the story of someone you know. Millennials, young people. We're connected on every social media network. We're constantly being tweeted, texted, emailed, Snapchatted, all kinds of things I don't even know. We crave authenticity. I can go to a college campus and I can argue stats and figures. I can argue science with people. And they will argue with me until they're blue in the face about science. It's in a biology textbook. But as soon as I tell them a story, they listen. Because what you've experienced, what your friend experienced, no one can discount that story. That's why stories of women who've had abortions, stories of women who've courageously chosen life are so important. Jeanette's story today. That's a story you guys can retell. Because it's real. It's real life. And that's what matters, and that's what counts. It's not a quick slogan. It's not something you can say on TV in 15 seconds. But it's a way you can have an honest conversation with someone about abortion. I met a woman a few months ago. We were on Capitol Hill. We were doing these Women Betrayed rallies. And we were trying to get the leadership in the House of Representatives to stand firm to defund Planned Parenthood. And so a friend of a friend recommended a woman from Jocelyn to fly in and speak to our rally. And Jocelyn's from Des Moines. And I met her that morning. We picked her up at the airport. I picked up a few other folks. And we were going to Speaker Boehner's office at the time. And we were going to meet with his staff. Because the goal was we want to show Congress that when you're talking about defunding Planned Parenthood, we need to use very simple talking points, and that Planned Parenthood betrays women. They lie to women. And we want to help our leaders in Congress to speak truth. So Jocelyn came, and I noticed she really wasn't smiling. And she would kind of give me like a half smile, but she was very guarded with just her mouth and her face. And we started talking to Speaker Boehner's, one of his staff members, and I asked everyone at the table, the four ladies, to tell their story about their experience at Planned Parenthood. What having an abortion at Planned Parenthood did to them. How they were treated at Planned Parenthood. And Jocelyn starts talking, and her abortion happened about 11 years ago. She recounts the entire morning, what everyone in the waiting room looked like, what they were doing. She talked about how she was a drug user, her partner was a drug user. They didn't want to have the abortion, but they said there was no way they were going to be able to have this baby. So they went in already regretting what they were about to do. She talks about how she laid down the bedside table. They let her partner in with her. The abortionist enters from the back of her room, sits down in front of her, starts performing the abortion, never speaks to her at all. She starts writhing in pain because she doesn't have enough money for the anesthesia. And the nurses tell her, lay down or you're going to hurt yourself. So they start holding her down. The abortionist finishes. He mumbles something to the nurse. He exits. So Jocelyn starts recounting this story, talking about the years of suffering she endured until she met Christ. And then she said something to the staffer. She said, I don't know if you can tell, but my tooth is black here. And so she kind of lifted up her mouth a little bit. She smiled. She showed right here, her tooth is black. And she said, every morning I wake up in excruciating pain, and it hurts all day long. This tooth is decaying, and I need to go to a dentist. The last time I was at a dentist was 11 years ago. She said, I can't bring myself, even though I know I'm forgiven, I still can't bring myself to go to the dentist. Because when I enter that room, I hear that suction sound. And it's a sound just like my Planned Parenthood. Now, as Americans, we take pride in our teeth. All my generation, we had braces for like multiple years. We all whitened our teeth. For Jocelyn to walk around with a decaying tooth that not only looks bad, but to cause pain, that's what abortion did to her. Destroyed her life. And the damage is still being done. Next time you talk to someone, they say, but Planned Parenthood does a lot of good things. But sometimes women need abortion. Tell them Jocelyn's story. The next thing you can do to become a David, and I think this might be the hardest. Envision a nation without abortion. Men and women, we will not end abortion until we actually believe that we can do so. Often we're like that high school football coach who tells his team moments before they run onto the field, great job in practice this week, guys, but you're going to get your butts kicked. What do you think is going to happen to his football team? They're going to get their butts kicked because the person who trained them for this battle, the person who's supposed to believe in them, has told them they're going to lose. They're going to go onto the field believing, I'm going to lose. Winners always envision the win. no other way. But in the pro-life movement, we do the opposite to ourselves. I'm talking to the older folks. We do the opposite to ourselves. We say, well, I'm gonna give my money, I'm gonna go to the march, but abortion's not. Friends, I believe in an awesome and a mighty God. I believe in a God who created the universe. I believe in a God who sent down his only son to die on a cross, to be buried and rise again so we may live in heaven with him for all eternity. Yet how can I say we won't end abortion? This is a problem of the Christian church. We have to believe it. We have to believe it, and we have to see it in our mind. Because it's not until we believe it will we actually work towards it. Because if you knew next Friday, or this Friday, the day of the March for Life, the abortion was going to be over. The Supreme Court was going to overturn Roe and Doe. All 50 states unanimously are making abortion illegal. Do you think you would work a little differently this year? This week? You think you would do something a little more? Heck yes, you would. You'd be out in front of Planned Parenthood. You'd be out in front of the abortion facility every day this week praying, offering help to women. Sue would not be sleeping. The Aid for Women team would be doing everything they possibly could to get ready for the influx of women who would be coming through their doors. We would work differently because we knew it was going to end. And we'd say we have to be there for her. How are we going to meet all of these women? How are we going to meet their demands and serve their needs? Envision a nation without abortion. See the end in your mind's eye and work towards it. Be a David. My last action item for you is really to seek social justice. Seek social justice. I got started in ProLife when I was 15 working at a pregnancy resource center. And I felt good about what I was doing. I was doing my pro-life duty. A girl would come in, she would get her pregnancy test, I would do my little counseling session, and she would leave. And I started to notice that some of the women were coming in every single month. Sometimes like 3 weeks apart from each other. I'm like, you don't think you're pregnant again, do you? You're not really here for a pregnancy test. And she'd be like, no, I just need diapers, or I need someone to talk to. You see, I was doing my pro-life duty. I was giving out the free pregnancy tests. I was doing the counseling sessions. I was talking about second virginity. But what I was failing to do was my social justice duty. Because there was something broken in her life. There was a broken relationship in her life. Often she had left home when she was 16 or 15. Either she ran away or she was kicked out. She was living with her boyfriend, who might have been the father of 1 or 2 of her children. I'm here talking to her about practicing abstinence, and she's like, you're crazy. I'm living with the father of my last son, but not my first son. He's paying for everything. How am I going to just stop? How am I going to stop? Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? What we need to be saying is, where do you want to be? Where are you at, and where do you want to be? Do you need to get your GED? Do you want to go to college? Because that's going to be the best thing for her and her child's life, and her preborn child's life. And that's what Aid for Women does perfectly. Each and every one of us can get involved in this fight. We can seek social justice with those who need it. We all know that one friend's child who we can kind of see going down that path, right? Maybe they started smoking marijuana and you kind of heard through the grapevine and told your kid, stay away from that kid, something's going on. Maybe we've witnessed it in our own family. And the question is, how can we restore justice to that person? How can we repair that relationship? How can we help Aid for Women seek social justice in Chicago? Friends, what I'm giving you today are not easy things, and I do apologize, but I did warn you, I am a bossy person. Maybe going out in front of March will be easier in 1 degree weather than doing some of these things. But my plea to you is today is to please become a David. Do something this year. Do something this year to help us usher into abortion. This brings me to my favorite part when I get to speak in front of audiences. And I'd like for you all to just remain in a prayerful state this moment. Because this is the time when we are going to determine how many women Aid for Women is going to be able to serve. How many babies are they going to be able to save this year? When I was researching Aid for Women, I was shocked at the number of abortions that happen here in Chicago. Tens of thousands of abortions every year happen. Aid for Women is literally the only ones standing in the gap right here in the downtown. They're the only ones. Last night, we were downstairs in the lobby and I was looking up some of the abortion facilities. And we found that one of the abortion facilities is even offering the RU46 pill up to 24 weeks. That's illegal, Congressman. FDA has only approved that abortion pill to 9 weeks. Here, abortion facility here in Chicago saying it's safe up to 24 weeks. Another abortion facility website in Chicago said, oh, you know, a lot of times you'll miscarry. So wait till after 12 weeks to come in. And Brenda, my colleague, was asking, why would they do that? They're going to lose out money. And I said, no. They know if she comes in after 12 weeks, it's a second trimester abortion, they can charge her double. This is what the abortion industry does right here in Chicago. This is why we need to support Aid for Women. This is why we need to stand right there with them. We have to have Aid for Women's back, just like they had Jeanette's back. We have to have her back. So today we have two special things we are going to ask your support for. On your tables, there are pledge cards, and I'd like for everyone to fill out their contact information. So at least Aid for Women can get your information, and maybe you can volunteer this year. But then I want to go over some of the options, because I have two asks for you today. Because Aid for Women is going head-to-head with Planned Parenthood, they're going head-to-head with the abortion facilities in Chicago, they need your help. Other national pro-life groups have even pulled out of advertising in Chicago because it's so expensive. This is what happens. A girl gets pregnant, she kind of feels like she's pregnant, she knows she's missed her period, she might have taken a pregnancy test in her dorm room. She's going to go to Google, and she's going to type in abortion. She's going to type in pregnancy. Her first thought is going to be, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I get it out? How do I get it out? She's going to panic. Most psychologists talk about unplanned pregnancy and women experience it's kind of like a death of her. It's traumatic as a death because she knows no matter what decision she makes, her life's never going to be the same. Her old life is now dead. And what's she going to decide? She's going to go to Google, and there's going to be an ad war that she doesn't see going on in Google. Planned Parenthood and the abortion facilities here in Chicago are paying up to $3 per search, per woman to be the top line result. Because we're millennials, we don't really have time to scroll. It's on our phone. We're only going to get what's in the first top line. We have to be at the top line search result right there. The top ad. That's where Aid for Women needs to be. And the other side, they make money off of abortion. So they have money to put into their advertising budgets. So now there's an ad war going on for her and going on for her baby right there in Google. She has no idea. So for $3, you can reach a woman considering an abortion. You can reach a woman in that most desperate hour. You can reach a Jeanette. So what I would like to ask for you today is to make two gifts. One, a monthly gift. I know I'm bossy, I apologize. We can take out banners on the bus to reach her. It's only $2.25 per banner. I couldn't even believe that. That's a steal. We can take out bus banners to reach her. $300. consider making a one-time gift of $300. It's 130 banners. $150. Consider making that one-time gift to help us purchase these banners. 2016 just started. And my goal is to make sure 2016 is the year Aid for Women has to expand even more, because their phone lines are ringing off the hook. They've got more women coming into their doors than ever before. And with these advertising campaigns, we can make it happen. But we have to decide to be Davids. Thank you all for coming here today. Thank you all for your support for Aid for Women. Thank you for your willingness to march. And thank you for deciding to be a David, whatever decision you made. Because we need you. We need you to have our back at Aid for Women. God bless.